Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Thursday, September the 20th, 2018. My name is Doug McCann, the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. We do create multiple hypotheses as we do not know what the market's going to do. Therefore, we create multiple scenarios, multiple hypos, multiple trade plans, whatever you want to call it. And then we wait for the market to open up, show us who's in control, and then execute the plan that best suits the market. And then during the course of the trading day, if the context changes, being able to shift from one trade plan to the other accordingly. This is a subscription room. If you are interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website, there's no blog. This is not a commercial venture. We do everything live here in the go-to, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the trading day. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, and your own risk metrics. So taking a look at yesterday. Okay, first thing, if I lose, I have the storm and power outages all through the night. So I am running with the possibility of losing power at any time. So if this just goes dead, understand that my power went out. But taking a look at yesterday, trade levels, you can see our main hypothesis was a move up, finding responsive sellers, and then moving down and coming down and testing the 2905 to 2901, and then basing and moving back up. Hypo 2 was a move down into the 2907, then a move up. But without going through all the hypos, we had a fifth alternative hypo, which was going to be an inside day and sideways consolidation as a balance day after a trend day. Even though we broke out to the 1875 and got above the prior day, they couldn't hold it, and the rest of the day we held inside, just going sideways. Very, very boring trading day. All the action was within the first couple hours. In the overnight session, we have gone and put in new all-time highs. So we have unequalized all-time highs. Our all-time high in the RTH is 29.2255. I'm sorry, 50. That's likely, obviously, going to change as soon as we open if we're still above the 22.50 previous all-time high. Now, we've got a new all-time high at 29.2775 that will remain unequalized until we test it in the RTH session. And I think we're likely going to get extension as well. Inventory is about 80% net long. So I'm looking for balancing inventory. We're going to be opening up outside of range, outside of value. So we have gap rules in play. But what we do have in play is we have the, where's my picture? We have this cup and handle targets still valid. So there's the cup and handle we were talking about the other day. Here's the first target. The first target is at 29.5. The primary target is at 36.75, and the extended target is at 49. So these cup and handle targets remain valid, and they'll remain valid until we actually break below the 28.96. Although I'm watching the rim, the right rim line, basically the 29.15 area, and I won't pay so much attention to these targets if we get back below there, but they'll still remain valid. This is a good piece of structure. Sept was good enough to point it out to us the other day, and that was excellent work on his behalf. Taking a look at the news, we just had economic news. The jobless claims came out slightly better than expected, 201 versus 210. Continuing jobless claims better than expected, 1645 versus 1705. Philly Fed came out really good beat at 22.9. Everything else was pretty mediocre. The ADP non-farm employment change, though, came out much lower than expected in Canada. 10 o'clock, we've got existing home sales. That's the next big news of the day. And then we got natural gas storage at 10:30. There is European consumer confidence, but that's not going to be a market mover. And then we've got the 10-year tips auction at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Now, we have the possibility of the NAFTA coming together today and tomorrow with Canada. We have the whole thing with Kavanaugh and whether or not this Professor Ford is going to testify. We've got all the China tariffs, and really the market doesn't seem to care about that. The market just wants to continue the auction and continue to make new highs. How high we can go is anybody's guess. We're going to get a gap and go. If we were to open up in this area right now, let's call it 26, 25. I'll have to adjust this, of course, on the open. The close yesterday was 15. So half back is going to be 20.75 right now. A half gap fill. And again, this will be adjusted based on where we open. All right, and but we have gap and go. But before we get into this, let's just take a step back. Each day, I like to take a look at the macro and micro. I start with a simple candlestick chart on a monthly and start working my way down. What I'm doing is I'm looking at where are we in that particular periodicity of the trend. You know, do we have good slope and separation? Is the strength of the trend really strong, or are we challenging the trend by coming back to the 9 or breaking below the 9, or are we violating the trend and possibly seeing a new trend change with a break of the 9 and the 20? You can see monthly trend very much intact. We don't even challenge the trend until we get back into the 27.75 area, way below us right now. On the weekly, same thing, very strong trend, up, good slope, good separation. We don't challenge the trend until we get back to 28.7250. So, 100 points between the weekly and the monthly in terms of the 9 EMA. Therefore, we got a lot of pullback that we can have that won't even touch the trend and on the monthly. Going to the daily, you can see that we held the 20 and now we're getting continuation and we're getting slope and separation and breaking into new all-time highs. Going to the intraday, same thing on the intraday. We're getting slope and separation. We're making new all-time highs. We don't even challenge the trend on the daily, on the 4-hour until we get back inside of yesterday's range, and that's unlikely to happen today, in my personal opinion. But you never know. Just going to the 30-minute, you can see we're blasting off. We had the solid consolidation throughout the Globex and yesterday, and they have broken out of balance, and we are in price discovery. Okay, and that's important to understand. So let's go to the structure and create the narrative. So we have to bring these in, bring these in. We came up and we talked about the 12-13 area yesterday, that we needed to get back above that and accept that. They basically did. They came up and just chopped, between the range high of the prior day and that microcomposite VPOC in the 12 area. very tight Gaussian distribution, and then we've broken out of balance, and we're in price discovery in uncharted territories. So important levels to pay attention to right now is the 2250. There is a couple LVNs. That 20 area is the half back, but is also there's an LVN there. Next area would be the range high, of course, at the 1875, and then I'm watching the 16 area because it coincides with the value area high of the longer time frame microcomposite, as well as the 5-day value area of the microcomposite in that same area. Anything below that, I think we pull back into the 12 area, with the main target being 14. And that's really, and if we get below the 2909 area, then we could see a bigger pullback and a retest down into that 2901.75 microcomposite VPOC on the prior microcomposite, or all the way down to the 2894.50, which is the current microcomposite from the breakout day, okay, from the last balance that we broke out. So interesting times. Market can't keep a good spoo down. So taking a look at the overnight, you can see that we have this LVN at the 23 area. I thought it was at the 24 area. It is at the 23 area, just above that prior all-time high. And then we've got this other LVN right here at the 1975 area, which I'm marking as a trade area. And this is going to be the over-under line. Anything below that, whoops. Didn't take that word all the way off. Anything below that, I'm looking for a dip back into this 14 area and possibly down into the overnight low and that microcomposite VPOC down at the 1275. The area between 10 and 9, that's going to be our key line in the sand. Anything below that, and we're looking for the bigger move back into the 2901 area, and most likely come down into the 94 area. So we have a couple things based on the overnight low. Our 20-period daily ATR full session is running at 2024. So off of the overnight low, our daily ATR up target is still above us at 29.31. We have the cup and handle first measured move target at 29.25. We have the month and the Globex all-time unequalized high at 27.75. Our weekly ATR, our week low, is at 28.8350. Our weekly full session ATR range is 50.80. So our upside weekly ATR is 29.34.25. We have 36.75 as our primary target, the 61.8 extension up on our cup and handle. And then we've got the extended target of the cup and handle, the 100% extension at 49, and our weekly critical mass today with 2 sessions left. Our week open was 29.09. That's also that key line in the sand. The weekly critical mass is up there today. I don't think we'll actually get that high today, but I am looking for a gap and go day or a gap and balance. So in terms of hypotheses, first of all, inventory is heavily net long, so I am looking for some balancing. I'm looking for an open auction. Hypo 1, sorry. Hypo 1 is a open auction out of range. I'm looking for responsive selling down towards the 23 to 20 area, and then I'm looking for initiative buyers to stay on this and continue us up into this 29 to 34 area. I don't know how high we'll get, but I'm expecting, to have a fairly decent range, but not getting into a trend scenario as much as just a gap up and balance. The trend scenario is going to be my hypo 3. Hypo 2 is a open auction out of range, a takeout of the Globex overnight high, but failure to get extension, finding sellers early, rotating us down into the half gap, chop here, and then push down back into balance and back down into the 29.15. This is the epitome, the perfect structure, okay, as a Gaussian distribution and a balancing day. Tight range, okay, very, very good profile with some good kurtosis around the VPOC. So if we get back inside of the day and we don't bounce off the 16 area, look for an 80% destination trade down into the value area low, because this is definitely a value area that you'll want to pay attention to when we get back into it. So hypo 2 open auction, take out the overnight high, failure to get a further extension, sellers stepping in, rotating us down into the 19 to 18 area, chopping in this area, and then pushing through to the 16, possibly bouncing back up into the 20 and closing here, or breaking back inside of the value, making a trip through value, and then closing somewhere in this area between 1275 and 15. Hypo 3 is our gap and go day, open test drive, failure to get below the 23, leaving the gap and the half gap alone, buyer stepping in early. Excuse me for 1 second. Sorry, buyers stepping in early and pushing us up and trending up towards this 31 to 34, and then falling back and closing somewhere inside of the middle of the day, but in a trend type scenario as a gap and go, and continuation of this upward trend and new all-time highs put in the RTH. Hypo 4 is a take back day. Sellers take a failure to make a new all-time high, leave the unequalized all-time high, and we're going to actually looking like we're going to put in new all-time highs here before we get to the RTH. But sellers taking control, pushing us down, and actually engulfing, getting a bearish engulfing day on yesterday and pushing down towards that 29.01. This is less likely to happen, but if we get below the value area from the prior day, then I would start looking for the possibility of a bearish engulfing and a move down towards the 29.0175, 29.02 area, and then basically chopping here, at the low and creating what I would consider the first sign of an exhausted top and a move down. Not saying that the trend is done. I'm talking about an exhausted top with a substantial pullback into the 2800s to probably test the weekly 9 EMA. Those are my main hypotheses. There is a fifth hypothesis, which is a small range of 7 to 8 points and just having another balancing day, but a balance above new territory as we establish value up at the all-time highs. Take a quick look at gold. We have held that 1202 area, the 1200 again. For the third day that we've been talking about it. We're coming up into that key level we talked about. If we get above the 14, I'm looking for a move up into the 20 to 22 area. And then if we break above the 25, the next leg up is, with the primary target is going to be up here at the 1233.60 area. We could just chop around again today. Anything below the 1197, then we're back in the 1100s and the actual break of this balance and the next leg down to the 1150 area could be what we're seeing. But based on this structure right now, it looks like we've accepted the 1200s again, and we're likely to see the next leg up into the 1233 area. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we will catch you on the flip side.